criticize the Patriots' path to the Super Bowl?
It's fair to bring it up, and that they had the easiest, the 10th easiest schedule of all time, and one of the easiest, the easiest schedule this year.
The easiest this century. Mm-hmm.
So it's fair to bring it up, but honestly, right now, I don't think it's fair to criticize them for it, because they've proven, okay, the schedule was weak. So what? We have beaten the best the AFC had to offer to get to the Super Bowl. To me, that's like criticizing Jordan Love and saying he played Division I AA, FBS. He didn't even play. Like, to use that and say he's not a good quarterback. No, he's already proven he's a good quarterback. Okay, no matter what he did in college and where he played at, he's proven he's a good NFL quarterback. I think that's the thing for the Patriots, because the path is, I've said it ad nauseum, you've gone through 3 of the top 10 defenses in the league. The Chargers, Justin Herbert legitimately made the Pro Bowl. One of the 3 quarterbacks to legitimately make the Pro Bowl in the AFC. And they've played without their true offensive line all year and still won 11 games. So that's Houston was probably the best defense in the league. C.J. Stroud had 2 interceptions in his first 5 playoff games. He had 4. Now, look, C.J. was terrible. But I got to give the Patriots some credit for that.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense, had him shook. And then Denver, look, obviously they were playing with a backup quarterback, but it was in snowy conditions. And that one, okay, if you want to say Jarrett Stidham, fine. But I not to mention, Nick, 3 great coaches they went through. Harbaugh, Sean Payton, and DeMeco Ryans. Like, objectively great head coaches. So, I mean, I can't hate on it at all.
So, I don't actually think the regular season schedule matters at all anymore. I don't think people will remember that. I don't care about that. Right. Like, I just don't think it. Like, the only reason, and I like to think, you guys can watch trivia online when we do it on every Wednesday or Thursday. I have a pretty encyclopedic memory of football. I had no idea the 99 Rams had the easiest schedule.
No, I'm always shocked.
I had no memory of that whatsoever. I do remember playoff games and teams you faced.
Right.
And I don't think the Chargers in round 1 is an easy matchup. I think that's about a league average, 2 versus 6 playoff matchup. You're not going to face a perfect team. Like, they had some strengths, they had some weaknesses. You guys made them look awful. Mm-hmm. And some of that might be Herbert's own failings, whatever it is. Houston, none of us thought that was going to be a walkover game. CJ, I give some of the credit to your defense, and some of the credit seemed like CJ short-circuited. Right. But again, you guys forced it. Being the first team ever to face a quarterback who hasn't taken a snap all year in a conference championship game is unique. Like, that's
very fair.
And like, it's why you guys were the first road favorite of that much in a conference championship game. All those things, like, that is a unique historical outlier piece of it. But that's just one of your games. So here is how I would phrase it. I think if the Niners had made the Super Bowl and the path was in Philly, then in Seattle they win it, then in Los Angeles, it's like, man, that is a gauntlet. If the other 2 seed, the Bears, had won the gotten to the Super Bowl, it's like, oh, okay, you played Green Bay, then you played Stafford and the Rams, and then you went to Seattle. That would, I think, fairly be considered a tougher path than this one. But I actually, KW, think the path and the regular season schedule will only matter in one very specific circumstance.
Can I guess it?
Yeah.
If we get smashed in the Super Bowl.
Correct. If you win the Super Bowl, literally no one will care. Yep. No one will remember.
Oh, I don't know about that.
If you
if we win the Super Bowl, I'll be like,
Sam Darnold?
No, listen,
I think
KW,
the talk will be 4
But if Sam Darnold melts down, it'll be like,
KW, when you say the talk,
that's what it'll be.
And this is advice for Kevin Wildes, advice for viewers, and advice just for every human being alive.
Oh my goodness, let's buckle up.
Please stop treating what are likely bot accounts as real human beings.
There are a lot.
All right. As someone who genuinely engages with the comments section, bots or no bots, whatever the case may be, I interact with a significant number of individuals. I believe this topic is going to be an engaging one to dissect, so prepare yourself, because we're going to examine it from numerous angles. This aligns with my general mindset today. Rather than presenting rigid, definitive opinions, I'm more inclined to explore the subject from every conceivable direction. Before we dive in, please remember to watch the video in its entirety and consider subscribing while you're here. That is, without question, the most effective way to support this channel's growth, enabling me to continue producing the highest quality Patriots-related content possible. Now, is it reasonable to scrutinize the path a team takes? I believe so. Ultimately, in 2026, we're all interconnected. We're discussing sports literally around the clock. In the past, the term 24/7 was used metaphorically. Now, it's almost literal. We are perpetually tuned in, collectively and simultaneously. We watch games live and can interact with others in real time. It makes me feel like my father marveling at technology. It's amazing what you kids can do. We are all so intensely locked into this 24/7 sports ecosystem. Consequently, I think it's perfectly valid to raise these points because they provide substance for dialogue. They are topics worth examining. Criticize might be too strong a term. Perhaps discuss, raise, or contemplate is more apt. And in many respects, I believe it's all fair territory. However, here's the fundamental reality, and I want to address this up front. Ultimately, when you secure a victory, the path taken largely ceases to matter. Opposing fans will grumble, "It was too easy, they got lucky, look who they played," but in the end, it's irrelevant. An example I often use, which I might have mentioned after a playoff game, or even before the Patriots entered the postseason this year, revolves around Tom Brady. If the Patriots had defeated Nick Foles and the Eagles in that Super Bowl, no one would say, "Well, you only beat Nick Foles." They'd say, "That's another ring for Tom Brady." Period. I just rewatched that iconic clip that's recirculating now, given the Seahawks-Patriots matchup, the Malcolm Butler interception. That counts as a Super Bowl victory for Tom Brady, one he very easily could have lost. It's not difficult to imagine an alternate outcome. He defeated a Jared Goff-led team 13-10. Is anyone currently dissecting that victory? No, they simply are not. Honestly, having watched a lifetime of football, I couldn't instantly list every opponent the Patriots defeated in their Super Bowl wins. I recall the losses more vividly because there are fewer of them. Seriously, I'd have to pause and think, wait, was it the Panthers one year? Or was that an NFC championship game? The Falcons and Seahawks are obvious, but I'd need a moment to recall the others. I certainly don't remember regular season schedules from those years. Were the Jets good or terrible that season? Who was their quarterback, Chad Pennington? I don't remember. That minutia ultimately fades. What becomes indelible is defeating greatness. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles conquering Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Philadelphia Eagles and Nick Foles toppling the New England Patriots dynasty. Had Nick Foles won that Super Bowl against, say, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were in that AFC championship, it would still have been a special, exciting story, a backup quarterback's triumph. But what amplified it to legendary status was vanquishing Tom Brady himself in a record-setting, epic, bonkers Super Bowl, the highest scoring ever. It was madness. A primary reason for that madness was the clash of two iconic franchises, the Patriots and the Eagles. That's what etched it into history. So when someone rolls their eyes and says, if Sam Darnold implodes and plays poorly, you just beat him, there's a kernel of that sentiment. There's a certain flavor to it. A victory over the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC Championship would have carried more weight. A victory over the Philadelphia Eagles would have resonated more deeply. In the AFC, beating Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills would have landed with greater impact. But ultimately, this nuance only matters within very narrow, specific corners of the discourse. It just is what it is. I also believe it heavily depends on the precise conversation you're having at any given moment. This is where I'll introduce the GOAT discussion, because I anticipated it might come up regarding easy paths. I've frequently used Tom Brady as an example. He played well enough to win Super Bowls he lost, and he won Super Bowls he could have easily lost. It's a fascinating duality. Sometimes, when I point out that Patrick Mahomes has lost Super Bowls, people get defensive. But when you're striving for an honest evaluation of all-time greatness, these are the layers you examine. That's what people did with Brady. He wasn't the main factor in the early wins, That was really the defense, etc. So, if Drake May begins accumulating rings and the Patriots start a new run, a ring secured through a perceived easy path, especially if Sam Darnold plays terribly, will be scrutinized. Well, that was such an easy path. Look at the quarterbacks they beat. That's when this line of inquiry gains a certain, albeit limited, relevance. But let's be unequivocally clear here. By certain popular metrics, the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes have apparently never defeated a great quarterback in the Super Bowl. A prominent commentator does not consider Jimmy Garoppolo a good quarterback. He does not believe Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. He contends Jalen Hurts has fundamental limitations. Therefore, Mahomes' 3 Super Bowl victories came against quarterbacks who, by this assessment, are not good. If you subscribe to that logic, what then? These selective critiques are always in the atmosphere. Sometimes I have the patience to engage with them. Sometimes I'll counter with, why are we even bringing this up? It's nonsensical. It genuinely depends on my mood. What do you feel like dissecting in that moment? Outside of a targeted, granular GOAT debate, its importance is fluid. Even the Eagles' iconic run with Nick Foles is sometimes contextualized by the belief that the Minnesota Vikings, with Case Keenum, shouldn't have been there. That the New Orleans Saints were the superior team undone by a fluke play. That narrative gets largely nullified because they ultimately beat Tom Brady. But if their opponent had been Blake Bortles, the storyline would hit differently. They beat multiple backup-level quarterbacks. How special is it really? It would be downplayed. What could have redeemed or elevated this Patriots path, more than anything, would have been defeating an iconic or universally acclaimed quarterback in the Super Bowl itself. I am a significant believer in Sam Darnold, but he objectively does not carry that cultural weight. Not yet. However, Patriots fans, let's be real. If you win, you're still having a parade. You're still ecstatic. You're still proclaiming, we're back. That reality is immutable. We can discuss the defenses they've faced. The reality is, yes, they've beaten these teams in the playoffs. But Drake May has not been performing at an exceptional level, not to the standard I know he's capable of. One could argue he's facing elite defenses, but consider the Chargers. Had they won, they would have made history by winning a playoff game with the worst-graded offensive line in PFF's history. That team was perpetually held together with the metaphorical equivalent of school glue, not even super glue. When you finally confront a legitimate, complete team, it's not hard to imagine the Patriots prevailing. Then they faced the Texans. Their offense with C.J. Stroud has been a limitation all season. This is indisputable. The Pittsburgh Steelers made Stroud look utterly lost. So you can't solely attribute that win to the Patriots' defense. I say this as someone who believed in this Patriots team week after week, who dismissed arguments that their success was purely schedule-driven. But I still want to present the complete, honest picture. Then they defeated the Broncos, led by Jarrett Stidham, 10-7. These are factual components of their journey. Returning to the Nick Foles example. Yes, they faced Case Keenum and the Vikings, but they annihilated them. Foles was spectacular, throwing darts everywhere. That hasn't been the Patriots' playoff trajectory, as I'm trying to recall other easy paths in recent memory. It all depends on how you choose to slice it. When the Eagles reached the Super Bowl in 2022, they faced Daniel Jones and then faced a 49ers team that lost Brock Purdy to injury. In 2023, the 49ers defeated the Packers and the Lions. No one called that easy. The Chiefs defeated Tua Tagovailoa in freezing conditions, then Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. No one labels that an easy path. So, I'm uncertain. I don't know how much it truly matters in the grand historical scheme, but I understand why it fuels conversation right now. My current perspective is this. If the Patriots are soundly defeated in the Super Bowl, many will declare their run fool's gold. I believe that narrative will emerge. If Drake May and the Patriots perform in the Super Bowl exactly as they have throughout these playoffs, and the Seahawks demonstrate, that's great. But you did that against a Chargers team with no O-line and against Jarrett Stidham. We are the first complete team you faced with both a great defense and a great offense, and it's over. Resulting in a 35-14 type loss, people will argue the Patriots were artificially elevated. They wouldn't have gotten past the Bills if the Bills had beaten the Broncos. Or, they wouldn't have beaten the Broncos if Bo Nix had played. you enter that entire hypothetical realm. Then it becomes about proving yourself the following year. If they don't return to the Super Bowl, the chorus will be, "See, it's much harder when you face real quarterbacks." That is simply the cyclical nature of sports discourse. I'll reference the Eagles again. I predicted this would happen after their Super Bowl win. I said if they didn't win again, people would use it as proof that Jalen Hurts wasn't truly elite. They must win again, or Drake May and the Patriots must continually reach the Super Bowl to prove their greatness. It becomes a perpetual, never-ending story. You either enjoy having those nuanced debates, or it's a long, contentious road ahead. Ultimately, I think it's fair to discuss and raise these points. It can even be an entertaining intellectual exercise because it forces you to question, how much should we factor in these contextual elements in such discussions? However, in the final analysis, I don't recall who John Elway beat on his road to the Super Bowl. I have no memory of who Brett Favre faced in his NFC Championship games. Probably great, iconic teams, but I've forgotten. What about Eli Manning or Peyton Manning's paths? I don't remember the specifics. I barely recall the details of the 2021 season. It all eventually escapes you. This is why I frequently argue that legacy doesn't matter nearly as much as people pretend. The reality is, how often do you genuinely bring it up? If Tom Brady weren't broadcasting and Peyton Manning weren't in commercials and doing his Manning cast, how frequently would these two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time be referenced in everyday sports talk? How often do people bring up Troy Aikman's specific achievements? You don't, unless you're deep in a targeted comparative historical debate. That's the realm you enter when you're lost in the weeds. So, if Drake May and the Patriots win under these circumstances and people call it a cheap Super Bowl, that's actually a great problem to have. The retort is simple. Still a Super Bowl. How many do you have? You remain on the positive side of the argument, on firmer, higher ground. As with Patrick Mahomes, complain all you want that I beat Jimmy Garoppolo, who threw 2 interceptions and had a 78 passer rating. I won the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it truly does not. But those are my reflections. I am incredibly eager to hear yours. What do you all think? Is it fair to scrutinize the Patriots' path to the Super Bowl? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, let's engage in some discussions. Let's have some spirited debates. But ultimately, let's just enjoy the process. And please consider subscribing. We're fostering a fantastic community here, and I would absolutely love for you to be part of it. I aim to build something we all feel connected to, something we're genuinely excited to participate in. I believe we're making significant progress toward that goal. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely assists with visibility and the platform's algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.